we need to have a chat about notifications.
Hewson YT. Tech for content creation.
G'day, it's Doug from Hewson YouTube here. We're here to help you with tech for content creation. Today, it's another YouTube video. Seems to be a lot of YouTube videos lately, but we've got to seriously discuss notifications. There's some things that a lot of creators say about notifications that I don't necessarily agree with. And the reason I say that is because many creators look at YouTube through the lens of a creator only and don't consider looking at YouTube through the lens of the viewer. If you want to be a great creator, you've got to be looking through the lens of the viewer. You've got to be considering how a viewer behaves. And I think that's the heart of the matter when it comes to notifications. So we're going to get into it in just a second. But if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and check the bell, and you'll find out why you really need to do that later in the video. Notifications. A couple of days ago from me recording this video, the Creator Insider channel put out this video regarding YouTube notifications and talking about that in a little bit more detail, and I thought it was very insightful. Interestingly, Tom was talking to a gentleman who was from the statistics or analytics part of YouTube, which is very, very interesting and refreshing. It's not just the, hey, I'm a notification person and I'm here to defend my notification system. It was nothing like that. So we're going to go into some of the insights that we can glean from this video, and also a video that happened just over a year ago. It was one of Barbara's takes where she actually interviewed a gentleman from the notification team, and they went through and answered all the questions, which is a bit more of a deep dive. All the videos that I'm talking about and I'm referencing, I'm going to put in the description below so that you can go and watch them for yourself. I know not everyone's going to agree with my thoughts on this, but I'm here to demonstrate the facts. And these are the facts that we glean from YouTube. I'm not here to talk about conspiracy theories or whether YouTube lies about things, because I don't think by and large they do. They may not communicate things clearly. Some things may be misrepresented or not explained clearly, so therefore people take that on board as YouTube being misleading or YouTube hiding things and not sharing things. But we don't want to get into that so much, but let's talk about the facts about notifications. I've recorded a couple of clips to demonstrate how notifications work on both desktop and mobile, which I'm going to show you in just a sec. But let me just cover the first part that we want to discuss here, and that is we're talking about the subscription notifications, where people are encouraged to, of course, check the bell like I did at the beginning of the video. We want to check the bell to get notified. But why do we want subscribers to check the bell? Well, the interesting thing is that depending on whether you're on desktop or mobile, there's two or three states that the notification bell can be in. By default, you get the regular bell, like this one here, and that actually is not off because it doesn't have the line through it. It actually means that it is in the default state, which is called occasionally sends notifications. So this is like a casual, hey, they're a subscriber. If we feel this subscriber is really into your content, we're going to send the notifications to them. Then, of course, when you ring the bell, looks like this, is that every time that creator uploads a video or goes live, you are going to get a notification. And then on mobile, you get this one on mobile only. You get this one where the bell is actually crossed out, which means you don't want any notifications from this creator ever. Even though you're subscribed, you just don't want to receive the notifications. And that's pretty cool. Now, the one other thing we're going to see when we go over to the information that I'm going to share on the devices in just a sec is that there's a whole nother layer of notifications. That's the notification settings for your YouTube account in regards to whether you want to receive notifications and how you want to receive notifications in regards to subscriptions. You're gonna see more information on that when we go over in just a sec. And speaking of which, let's head over there now.
Well, to start off, we're here on the desktop version of YouTube here. We want to go and find a channel that I have not yet rung the bell for. I might be subscribed, but I haven't rung the bell. So I'm going to choose Jonathan Morrison, TLD. There we go. Over here you can see that I am subscribed, but the bell is unrung. See, it's not ringing, it's just a still bell. Now what you'll notice here on desktop is that the bell is only in 2 states. And people might think, okay, you haven't rung the bell, so therefore you're not going to get any notifications. But look at this when I hover over it. Now that's what's going to happen when I press it. It says get notified about every new video. So when I click that, look down the bottom corner, you'll get all notifications. So I've rung the bell, it's going to give me all notifications. Every time there's a video or a live stream from Jonathan Morrison, I'm going to get a notification if my device notifications are actually turned on, which we're going to look at in just a second here on the desktop. And see what happens when we click that off. It says you'll get occasional notifications. So here on desktop, we only have 2 states. 2 states on, so it means all, or if the bell's not rung, it's occasional. So you will actually get an occasional notification if YouTube deems that it is something that you as a viewer would be highly interested in. So if they know that I watch a bit of Jonathan Morrison and that I particularly watch a particular type of video, yeah, I always watch those, but sometimes I skip videos. So what I'm going to do now is jump over and show you the notification section in the settings. So if we go over to here, go down to settings, and brace yourselves, it's not in dark mode. But if you can see down the left hand side here, the second option is notifications. And if you go down here, it says channel subscriptions. You'll always get notifications you've turned on for individual channels, which is where we just were. That's the notifications for individual channels, the notification bell. Now interestingly, you can have your subscriptions set for a number of states here. None, which means that even if you have bells checked for certain channels, you won't get any notifications on desktop here, or any notifications out to devices like your phones, mobile devices, where you might get a pop-up notification if you have the YouTube app installed. The other option is to only get notifications by email. Most people I know probably don't want an email notification, because an email notification means that your inbox is just filling up with notifications all the time. So in this case, for channel subscriptions, I like push only. You can also have push and email if you want, or you can have none, or like me, just push. So now that I've got push, that means that any time I get a notification from somebody like Jonathan Morrison or anybody else that I have rung the bell for. Let's go back over. So I've rung the bell over here, that I will get like a little notification here. Notification for something came in today. Let's have a look. Creator Insider uploaded the very video that I'm responding to. YouTube notifications, an in-depth breakdown of the bell. So I got a notification in my notification screen here about that video going live. And there's some interesting things here. I can actually from here, I don't want Creator Insider notifications, so I can actually turn that off right from here. But certainly here, if you're on YouTube, you'll get the notifications pop up right there. Okay, I've jumped over to my iPad right now, and what we're going to do is open the YouTube app. There we go, and we're going to look at the same thing again. So now we need to pick another channel, because I've already belled Jonathan Morrison. So let's find a channel. Let's pick Daniel Patel. So again, we're going to tap on that, and you can see at the moment over the side there, it's just a regular bell. You can see I'm subscribed, but no bell. So let's see what happens when we tap on the bell. It says you'll receive all notifications, and you can see it says options. So let me click on options down there real quick. You can see on a mobile device there's 3 states for notifications, whereas on the desktop there's only 2 states for notifications, which is really interesting. Now you can see, and there's even additional information here. So let's see, first of all, it says all. It says all notifications, occasional, and then none. So then we'll see 3 states. So by default, the state you get is actually, as you saw with the icon that we had when we first came on, is actually this one, occasional. So by default, a channel is already set to occasional. So basically, there's two ways you can go with a subscription. You can go all or none, because it's occasional by default. So you can see that then, of course, if it defaults to occasional and we tap the bell, we get all, then the other option is to go in and give it none, which means that I don't want to ever know anything about, even though I'm subscribed to this channel, I don't want to ever know anything about this in regards to notifications. And you can see that when I do that, it also unchecks the include creator posts. And if you're wondering what the creator posts are, we're talking about the community tab. But let's go up to all. I'm going to put this one on all. I want creator posts to be on. As stated in that video by Creative Insider, it is defaulting to occasional, where you see the bell, but it's not ringing. So you got to ring the bell or silence the bell are the 2 options you get. Or you can just leave it on occasional and see how the cards lie.
Well, hopefully that demonstrates a little bit clearly how it works for the viewers, basically, when they're deciding whether to check the bell, turn it on, turn it off, and whether they've got their settings to actually receive those. Maybe they've got going to the email, which I expect some people might use, whether they've got those push notifications to devices and to maybe Google Chrome, and then you've got it turned off completely. Now that's a factor. There's some interesting things we'll go into later to explain why notifications work the way they do. But here's some caveats that come out of that first video from a couple of days ago with Tom and the gentleman from the statistics and analytics team. The first thing you'll notice is the user has to opt into notifications. So what that means is, like from the subscriber point of view, you can see as we mentioned just before those clips, the bell is in that occasional state by default, so that you're not opted into all notifications from that creator. So firstly, the viewer has to opt in. So this is all surrounding the viewer's intent and what the viewer wants to do. So sometimes as a creator, what we need to do is educate our viewers on how to use these tools, because sometimes they may not be clear. They may have the notifications turned off on their device proper, little notifications in the back end there, so they don't get push notifications for YouTube or for subscriptions. And they may not have checked the bell. So it's not just about checking the bell, there's other notification things in play that make the whole system work. Now the interesting thing, they call this reachability. So that back end part is the reachable part. Are they reachable by notifications? So if they're not reachable, then checking the bell and not checking the bell isn't going to do anything. And you're going to have viewers out there that aren't going to be tech savvy enough to know that, hey, I need to have other notifications turned on in the back end of my phone, my mobile device, in the back end of YouTube, so that I can receive those notifications from those subscribers when the bell is checked. So in both cases, both on the subscription side and the other side, the viewer opts in to receiving notifications. They're not turned on fully by default. So that's the important thing. A lot of people come along with YouTube, start watching YouTube, but might check the bell for subscriptions. But if they haven't turned it on in the back end, then yeah, of course they're not going to receive your notifications. So think of the viewer. Think of the viewer when you're educating your subscribers, when you're educating your viewers on how they can receive those notifications. And the whole reason why they have these layered control, this control here and here, is to give viewers more control and not less control. So this gives them a whole lot more options than just one on-off switch for everything. One interesting other aspect that came out of the recent video from Creator Insider is that they're working on specific analytics so that you can see notification statistics for your videos from your viewers, which is going to be in the analytics section of YouTube. So that's an interesting thing to look forward to, so you can actually see what they're talking about, and some interesting points that come out of the whole analytics side and looking at the percentage of people who actually get notifications, who are actually asking for notifications, who've checked the bell, hasn't checked the bell. They go into that in a little bit more detail, but let me give you some clef notes here. They say here that the number of people that actually click on notification to watch the video, when the actual notification pops up and they click on it to watch the video, that statistic in itself is much like, the percentage is much like that of a CTR for a thumbnail title for a video, which YouTube says most people fall in that 2 to 10% mark. So what they're saying is, of the people who actually do get the notifications, only 2 to 10% of people are actually clicking on that notification to watch the video immediately. Now they may go back later to their subscription feed and find the video there and play it. They're not responding to that notification, they're responding to seeing the thumbnail later in subscriptions. So they've ignored the pop-up notification essentially and haven't gone to watch your video then or a number of minutes or an hour later from the notification screen. They've gone from elsewhere, like the subscription feed, for example. So that's an interesting thing to consider when people, when creators particularly complain that my viewers aren't getting notifications. It could be that your viewers are getting a notification, they're just not clicking on the notification to actually go and watch a video. They still got to make that choice to go and watch your video, which is interesting. Now, from the video just over a year ago with Barbara and a member of the notification team, some interesting points I want to pull out really quick to explain why the notifications are set up exactly the way they are in YouTube. Because one of the questions that a lot of creators have is, why can't you just tell all my subscribers all the time, every time, notify all of them? You know, it's like, well, why do you have the bell to turn it off? Why not just tell everybody? Isn't it beneficial? Because you get more views, more ads means YouTube makes more money, the creator might make more money. But they say this, that in testing, over notifying of subscribers tends to lead to people, one, unsubscribing from the channel, and secondly, people turning off notifications completely. And that's like the reachability part. If they turn the notifications off completely, even if they've checked that bell, they're not going to get notified because they've turned off notifications completely. Because they're getting too many notifications, they feel overwhelmed, they turn it off. So that is the reason why notifications is set up in a more nuanced way. Remember, like I said at the beginning of the video, consider the viewer. Don't just consider you as a selfish creator that you want as many views as possible. Consider the viewer. If you piss the viewer off, to be quite frank, then they're going to either unsubscribe, turn off notifications, or both. And that's not in your interest, and that's not in YouTube's interest for them to do that. And before we finish, I want to cover a couple of side questions that also come up in Barbara's video. And remember, I've linked all these documentation, the videos that I'm referring to below. And there's even some stuff from the YouTube Creator Academy, which I highly recommend you do as a creator. But here we go. Some people say, well, how come on occasions YouTube don't send out notifications to the people who have checked the bell? We know they got the notification on because they normally receive notifications. And what they say is, that's very rare. And they say what you should do is just keep your eye on at Team YouTube on Twitter. If there's like a system outage where there's just a practical physical reason why the notifications aren't going out, they keep an eye on that, because sometimes these things happen, not very often, but they do happen on occasion. And they also say, give some interesting information that there are peak times of the day that YouTube often gets spikes in the amount of notifications, particularly around times when a lot of the creators post, and it's a popular time for people to post and people to watch. They get an inundation of notifications in the notification system. They get a spike. If you have a look at, there's a chart on that particular video where you can see notifications are spiking at certain times of the day. And if you look at the scheduled section, this is my little add in here, my own information. If you look at the scheduling, when you go and upload a video, you look at the scheduling part, they've got in increments of 15 minutes. So you got the 15 of the hour, the quarter of the hour, the half of the hour, the 45 minute of the hour, then back to the top of the hour. So they're the default sort of ones you can just grab out and set, but you can fine tune that. Now, a lot of people just go and set it for the hour or the half hour, and so you get a lot of people doing that. So right on that, as soon as that minute ticks over, we're getting a lot of videos that are being they're going public all of a sudden, and then that sends a notification alert to the notification system to send out to your subscribers. That system, think of it like an email system. If you get enough emails to an email server at once, the email server has to queue those messages to process them and send them out. It's not instantaneous if it gets a certain amount. It's like the amount of water that can go through a tap or a faucet. You can turn it up as fast as you go, but there's still water backing up in the pipe. It can only come out so quickly. And that's the same for emails, it's the same for notifications. So those things are going to be sent out as quickly as the system will allow. And in most cases, the system is quite capable of handling it, and 9 times out of 10, there is no issues according to YouTube. You know, we get busy, but we can handle the peak times. It's usually the times where I mentioned just before, where there might be a system issue, which just sort of stops everything. When we're talking about the subscription notification bell in particular, those people who have got it set for the default of occasional, haven't rung the bell to get every notification, people who are on those sometimes might not get a notification immediately. If YouTube decides they're going to get a notification, they may be delayed while the algorithm figures out, is this person somebody that we want to send a notification to on this particular video. And YouTube don't do a huge amount of that, but there is a small amount of the occasional notifications going out to people. Because I know I see sometimes I get a video, get YouTube notifying me of a particular video for a creator I know I subscribe to, but I know I don't have the bell checked, because how, you know, am I particularly interested in every part of their content? Like there's certain creators, hey, I watch every video of Nick Nimmin would be one, Brian G. Johnson, people like that, people in sort of in that YouTube niche where I'm wanting that knowledge. So I watch every one of their videos. I've got the bell check. I want to be notified every time they go live. I want to be notified every time they post a video. But then there's other people who are on my subscription feed who I'm interested in some of their content, but not all of their content. So I don't ring the bell. I just watch occasionally. I look through my sub feed and I pick out the ones I want to watch. And then I might go back later and watch some of the other ones. It may not be as appealing to me, but I'll watch them anyway. And you know, viewers are like that. Viewers have their own behavior. The different viewers have slightly different behavior. Different audiences for different channels may have a different behavior by and large to an audience on a different channel. So there's some interesting things going on there that we can look at as we move forward and go further on those. So my bottom line for notifications is this. Notifications aren't necessarily broken. It's just that you as a creator, or us as creators, may not necessarily understand how the system works and may not be looking at it from a viewer point of view. So remember to consider the viewer and the viewer behavior when you're thinking about notifications. Now I know there's going to be people who get down to the comment section and say, no, YouTube is broken, it's not working. And you know, that's your opinion and that's fine. And you're entitled to that opinion. But you know, if I agreed with you, we'd probably both be wrong. So there you go. Pickaxes are coming out now for me. And thank you. If you liked this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And hey, if you didn't like what I had to say about notifications, I'm completely fine with you giving a thumbs down, because that's what it's there for, viewer behavior. And if you really like this video and you want more videos in the content creation space, talking about YouTube, talking about gear, talking about platforms that we like to create on, then make sure you click the subscribe button and check that bell so you don't miss anything. Make sure you got notifications turned on in the back end of YouTube on your device. Well, this is Doug from Doug Hewson YouTube, and I'll catch you later.
Subscribe to Doug Hewson YT for more tech for content creation.